This is the first kind of introduction to pandas. And again, we use pandas to structure data. So in this video, I just want to talk a little bit about how we can create a data frame and interact with it. Just get a high-level overview, select columns, what those columns are, and do some operations on individual columns or on the data frame itself. So first is that when we use pandas, we need to import it. So we're going to write import pandas as PD. That means that anytime that we go to use the pandas function, we're going to write PD before that. Okay. So the main thing that we'll be interacting with from pandas is this idea of a data frame. And this is what a data frame is. It's rows and columns of information. All right, and those rows and columns will have names and indices. All right, that's how we'll refer to these guys most of the time. All right, but there's names associated with each of the columns and rows. All right, so a dictionary is kind of, what we saw as the most basic structure for some data. So here we have a dictionary, and we can create a data frame out of that dictionary. All right, so we have three keys, a name, age, and sex, and those are each associated with lists, 3 long, that have 3 names, 3 ages, and 3 genders. After creating that, if we look at this, okay, we've got a little table. All right, and again, we have names for the columns and for the rows. So if we wanted to select one of these columns, for example, this will work very much like a dictionary. And there we go. So we've got the name column. Now, the kind of thing this is a Pandas series. Okay, so a series has things and an index of these things. So here the things are the names, but the series also has indices associated with those names. So it's a little bit different than like a list is. Okay, it has 2 things. And we can do different operations to this. So if we look at the age column, for example, we can find the max age. Or if we look at that column, we could find the average age. And if we want a high-level overview of all of the columns, we can use the describe function, df.describe. Now, you notice that this only shows us a summary of the age column. That's because that's the only numeric variable. All right. But if I go inside of this function and Shift-Tab, you can see that there is this include option. By default, it's only going to include numeric variables. But if I include all, then it says that this will include all columns of the input. Okay, and this is how these functions will work. There's usually going to be some options, and you can look at the help for the function and explore those options. So let's set include to all. And now we get all 3 columns back, and you see that it treats those categorical columns or objects differently. It just gives us counts and frequencies of the top occurring entry, whereas with the number column, it gives you kind of a numeric summary of that column.